Otherwise, we're going to want to make sure that everything else sort of trades the day I get, right? All I care about is, did I follow my trading plan perfectly? Did I do exactly how I said I was going to do? Because then at the very least, right, I can learn from that. But if I start to now improvise, I start to make things up as I go, if I start to now look for confirmation candles without a setup trigger, then I'm just going to drain my mental capital chasing moves that I'm not prepared for. So focus, 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 right? No stupid trades this week. No rushing into anything that's inappropriate. And let's just force ourselves to be successful, right? We can be successful by controlling the variables we can control. Cannot make shit up as we go or try to talk ourselves into trade when we have an expectation of sort of challenging conditions. So 2 minutes here till market open. Pre-market prep went a little bit longer than expected. I'm gonna go make myself a quick cup of coffee, spend 30 seconds here or so kind of visualizing a successful trading day, and then we'll do a quick little rundown before the session starts. All right, so that's market open here, right? Let's just see how price action wants to behave off this opening bell. And then if we have some strong momentum, right, we have some strong looks, we can look to hopefully, right, kind of find that easy follow through here this morning. Strongest setup, right, is going to be this Tesla. This looks best, certainly the easiest opportunity for that breakout. If we don't get that follow through higher, right, then, it's relatively going to chop about and sort of stay in place. Generally across the board, right, when we open up in sort of the middle of previous day's range, or sort of, really big gap up or gap down, we tend to not get a ton of follow through, right? So my main concern here to a certain extent is just make sure that I'm getting the right look I'm hoping for, right? And then once those things kind of sync up, right, I can look to take advantage of it. Tesla's maybe the easiest name for me to trade here today. There's less narratives than everything else, right? Already has earnings out of the way, it had strong earnings, really good momentum after its recent price action. And it's not, doesn't seem like the move happened overnight, right? So if we can get things to sync up, this is sort of where I think, that joy can kind of step in here today. But I want to be really patient. I want to be really cautious. Like I say, days where we open up in the middle of a range where we get a lot of sort of inconsistent narratives across the board tend to be choppy days. So I'm not in a rush, right, to force anything. I'm not in a rush to overtrade. Certainly not in a rush just to jump in something because it's a Monday morning, right? I do not care about that. All I care about is how can I follow my plan perfectly? How can I execute my sort of plan as well as I can? And then how can I make sure that I'm not forcing myself into a decision that I don't want to make, right? So I can't let the thrill of price action rush me into a trade. I need to make sure that everything is lined up exactly the way I want. I have the risk reward requirement. And then once I have all those things synced up, easy for me to take advantage of it. I haven't looked at the Tesla IV here yet, Jesus, so I can't comment. Yeah, it looks like 112.9. So at that, right, too expensive for me to want to force that trade. We need to see that, calm down here a little bit off this opening bell. Again, right, we just need to scream patience here, right? I do not care that it's a new session. I do not feel like the market owes me a trade. I cannot behave that way. I cannot try to just rush a decision because I don't want to be bored, right? Everything is telling me choppy, choppy, choppy until Wednesday, right? So I need to have that base assumption. I need to have that sort of base expectation instead of thinking that, hey, today is a perfect day to take advantage of conditions, right? But I know historically going into FOMC, going into earnings, participants get on the sidelines because they're unwilling to try to front run a trend when that trend could get invalidated, with some little, kind of boring press conference. So that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to avoid getting trapped into something that we don't want to be a part of. And then hopefully, right, we can then take advantage of whatever move sets up when it's absolutely perfect. But zero compromise is allowed. I'm not interested in enforcing anything. I'm not interested in overtrading. I'm not interested in doing anything stupid. I'm only interested in finding my perfect setup. And then when I get it, right, that's when I can have some joy. That's when I can have a little bit of fun. That's when I can take advantage of this price action. But everything in between, right, that it's a bit of a trap. It's a little bit of let's not force anything type situation. And then, once things kind of fall into place, much easier for me to then take advantage of today's price action. So keep stressing it, right? Keep stressing it. Decisions, not time, right? Here's what I plan on doing, right? All these plans are what I'm doing. I'm not going to trade anything else. I'm not going to make anything up in between. Wait for things to be absolutely perfect within that context. So I don't care if I get a candle that looks like confirmation. I don't care if I get an inside bar, right? All I care about is, can I follow my trading plan perfectly, right? If you're having anxieties about what you're looking for in your play, then your trading plan isn't good enough. It's not detailed enough. You need to include more information so you don't have those anxieties, right? So really, really important. We do not force anything. We do not rush anything. Do not try to, take a decision just because we think that's the one we want, right? We need things to make sense, to sync up, to tell us those consistent narratives. Zero compromises allowed, right? So I'm going to stress that a lot, right? Monday through Wednesday, prior to FOMC, that's going to be the narrative, right? It's going to be choppy. It's going to be indecisive. It's going to be a fight. So have that in your back of your mind, right? Think of that at all times and, make all your decisions thinking, how can I avoid getting chopped up, right? That's what my number one objective is here. Because I know if I get chopped out in frustrating price action, that's going to drain my mental capital disproportionately, right? So I do not want to avoid, I want to avoid that at all costs, right? And so that means I have to be proactive, not reactive in sort of that decision-making process, right? So if I'm identifying conditions that I know historically don't suit my style, then I need to define exactly what it looks like to invalidate that indecision. That's what we've done here this morning, right? So we're looking to invalidate that indecision. Once we have that information, once we can tick off all those check marks, easy for us to be successful, right? But if we have to make things up as we go, if we're trying to, improvise to what the market is doing, then we do not stand a chance, and we do not have a positive expectation of making enough consecutive, right? We don't have a positive expectation of making enough sort of consecutive decisions that will equate into an edge, right? So it's all about being focused, all about being disciplined, all about not compromising on your trading plan, and none of this making it up as we go, right? So really, really patient. We wait for things to be perfect. We wait for things to sync up. We wait for clean narratives. We wait for nice volume standards. And then we could take advantage of whatever price action, right? So Apple, right? Not increasing volume. So this MA, no confirmation on it yet, right? We want to see a break and close for that increasing outlier volume. Not really in play here, right? So need more vol. QQQ. decreasing volume profile. Okay, Tesla, Megavol, but our interest is in a possible dip buy right on a reversal, not necessarily on this continuation. All right, Microsoft not really in play here to the downside, right? Biggest gap down of all our names, so we're thinking that this is probably going to get stuck, right? AMD, we're looking for a high volume breakdown, through this sort of trend line, but we're not really at that increasing volume profile. So if AMD, right, which pretty much always gives us an increasing volume profile off the opening bell, isn't doing so, could be, giving you like the alarm bells, right? They should be going off like crazy. Why isn't AMD giving us that big volume when it, 8 out of 10 times does? Those 2 out of 10 times where it's not giving us those volume, right, tends to not really move. So we're seeing that off that opening 5 min. So we know that we need to see more volume step in if we're going to validate this 2 out of 3 to the downside and look to play sort of that trend line breakdown. Hey, good morning, Rambler. So I need to be really patient, right? I need to be really cautious. I do not care if I don't get a trade today, right? It's how do I get paid for my decisions, not my time. That's it, right? And so sometimes the best decision is the trade you don't take, right? Identifying the conditions that don't suit your trading style. And then, yeah, just avoiding your obvious red days. Now, it doesn't mean there can't be a play. It doesn't mean you guys can't have trades, right? But for myself, here's what my trading plan looks like, and I'm unwilling to compromise it on any level. Hey, good morning, Justin. Opening dojis, right? Pretty much across the board. QQQ, Apple. No, it should be here. T-Cron, hopefully you can hear me. Just muted there for a second while I was watching those closes. Right? But I would say generally muted open, right? So a little bit indecisive, kind of exactly what we anticipated. Boring, shitty. But we've identified conditions correctly, so now we need to wait, right? How else can we see our plans come together perfectly? So if this is what indecision looks like, right? Here's what we need to see, right, for it to not be indecisive. And I'm unwilling to compromise on any of those factors, right? Because every time I compromise, it just costs me money. I mean, that's the one thing it's become very, very clear to me. Just rewatching the trades, right? Rewatching them, editing them, kind of adding my comments to sort of the plays I've taken this year. Every time I compromise, every time I ignore just a little detail, then that trade costs me money. But if I am picking every box off, right, perfectly, man, I do well on those trades. I'm averaging like 30% on those wins. So I'd rather, yeah, not compromise, avoid sort of my trades because I'm bored, right? I don't want to trade because I'm bored. I don't want to lose money just because I'm bored, right? It's already one bad thing, so why would I want to make it two kind of situation? And so if I don't compromise, then I make a lot more money, right? So being bored, being kind of, pulling my hair out, being a little bit frustrated that I can't get any action. Fine. I'd rather that, though, than be losing money. So I'm expecting this to be sort of the behavior going into FOMC, right? I expect it to be challenging. I expect it to be choppy. I expect it to be sort of imperfect conditions. And then hopefully, right, once FOMC actually kind of gets out of the way, we can look to take advantage of some sort of price action, right? Maybe on this Tesla, I mean, probably not going to get the volume profile here. We're halfway through that candle, and we're not nearly halfway up for the previous bar. We can get, you know, that bullish engulfing candle, bullish engulfing on volume. We can look to play that reversal. But for now, we're chopping about. We're hanging out, right? Not doing anything too aggressive. No real reason to want to, overtrade or to rush a decision or to do anything silly. I need to just focus on putting myself in a perfect situation, right? What conditions suit my trading style? How good are those conditions? How can I then profit off of those ideas? And so there's no room for compromise here, right? My goal isn't to be perfect on all of my trades, because I'm never going to be correct 100% of the time. Can I follow my trading plan perfectly? That's it. That's all I'm trying to do here today. If I can do that, then yeah, I'll find a great play, or I'll save myself money. If I can't do that, then I'll lose money, right? So I know which one I don't want to do, right? I'd rather make money or not lose money than lose money. So yeah, boring, annoying, choppy, slow. It is what it is, whatever you want to call it. But I'm not going to compromise just because I want to be entertained, right? Or because you guys want to trade. I can't allow that to happen. So always unwilling to compromise just because I want some joy, right? With it being Monday, right, and we do expect conditions to be choppy at least until sort of Wednesday afternoon, right? Because FOMC is a big one. We got a lot of economic news coming out until then. You know, great time to sort of schedule your one-on-ones, right? So if you want to talk, you want to, you know, go over your strategy, you want to talk about how can you improve your entry timing, how can I focus, improve my risk management, how can I do X, Y, Z? You want to request funding, right? Book your one-on-one calls, right? Let's go over it. Let's, you know, satisfy all those criteria so that you can actually hit your targets. But right now, first thing that we got to focus on, guys, right? Always, first thing we got to focus on in the mornings is finding conditions that suit our trading style. Once we have those conditions, right? What does my best setup look like, right? What does my perfect look like? My perfect look in bad conditions isn't my perfect look. So that's what our main objective is, right? That's what our focus is always. And if we can get, you know, all those stories to sync up, all those stories to be consistent, all those narratives to kind of, you know, be a little bit more decisive, then we can avoid getting stuck in dojis, right? Which is what, you know, basically markets are doing across the board. And so, you know, that indecision, I mean, we constantly get told that, right, when we open up in the middle of the range. So I don't have an edge here, right? I don't have a positive expectation of making money without sort of a reasonable setup trigger here so far. I need to remain cautious. I need to remain patient because there's no expectation of me actually being profitable forcing a trade here. I could maybe gamble. I could take a YOLO play, right? And okay, I'll buy the dip here now on Tesla. But it's not perfect, right? I didn't get that bullish engulfing candle. I didn't get that bullish engulfing on volume. All I'm really being told here potentially, right, is that, hey, we need to slow down. We need to wait. We need to be patient. We got to wait for things to be perfect. Things aren't looking that way yet, so I cannot compromise just because I want to trade on a Monday, right? Hope you guys understand why I'm stressing that so much. But always, right, decision's not time. QQQ, right? Could be setting up as a buy the dip on strong reversal volume, right? Potentially consolidating bottom of that Bollinger Band, right? Fat bands tell us reversal to the mean, right? So we're hanging out lower band, right? If we can go bullish engulfing on volume, bullish engulfing candle, stop loss, right? Kind of this low of day area. You know, this is telling us, right? Or this is closer to what our trading plan was, right? Oh, big gap down, you know, look for that sort of trend continuation, maybe fill this gap back up towards sort of that 296 barrier. We want to see this candle close with some strength. Otherwise, we're going to have to default this to sort of a longer time frame. But, I mean, certainly looking better, right? Closer to sort of what our narrative was. Tesla, not as appealing, right? Even though this is a stronger looking volume profile, there's not as much room here, right? So we kind of have a couple half levels. We have, you know, previous high a day and then sort of top band on the BB, right? So stack those up back to back or stack those up together. You know, you don't really know where your risk reward target should be. So then, you know, we have to target $1 away, right? When our stop loss needs to be $5 away. It's probably realistically not going to come together. Not sure if this is a strong enough candle shape. Right, but he did close above previous high. Realistically, our target's 296 area. So risk reward here is probably already in play, right? But that's not a reason to jump into this right away. Right, $1.30 stop loss for 260. So it's just right on 2 to 1 at the moment, right? But $1.30 stop loss is still like 40% stop loss on the options. That's more than I want to take. So if I could have that, right? If I could get a 20% stop loss, a 10% stop loss, a 15% stop loss, awesome, right? So I want to see a pullback, maybe like that 293 area, kind of like here, right? Because then I'm risking 70 cents, right, to make $3. I'm getting way better risk reward. So from within that context, right, QQQ would make a lot more sense. This might be one of those names, right, that needs to give us that inside bar, right, before this gets interesting. Only reason we want that inside bar because it actually gives us, right, a little bit more conviction or, you know, a higher probability of actually getting into the risk reward zone that we're looking for, right? Like I said, you could get the 2 to 1 risk reward here, fine. But on the position sizing or sort of my max loss number, stay within that context, I have to go baby position sizing here to take advantage of that move. So I'd rather be patient, see if I can get full port or, you know, full position sizing that I'd like, instead of chasing this from this area and being only able to play this at lotto size. Right, because lotto size 40% stop loss, okay, that's going to hit me my 1%, right, max loss. But then when it goes, you know, if I'm just a little bit more patient, I'll make more money if I'm right. I'll lose less if I'm wrong, and maybe I can get a bit more of a narrative to sync up before this kind of comes together. So certainly promising, I would say. There's a little bit of potential here, but I need to remain cautious. And then the only reason, right, is that the stop loss isn't the previous candle here. Previous candle's low, or that confirmation candle low. Very clearly, right, that we found support off of that, say, 292.30 area, right? So very clear kind of shelf there, very clear kind of, you know, evidence of price action supporting off of that zone before. So I'm going to push my stop loss to that area because it seems a bit more logical. That makes sense? Yeah, this is pretty gross off the open, right? Every candle's wiki. I would say probably not. I wouldn't say you'd focus more on QQQ than the SPY. Apple's still the largest holding in the SPY, right? Same as it is QQQ. The actual weighted difference isn't going to be that significant. Okay, so now let's watch the reaction here, right? Watching QQQ, Jan 31 calls. Right? Probably looking at like the 296s. So again, right? Want to now inside the zone. I always want to look for that tennis ball bounce back price action, right? I haven't quite gotten it yet. So I'll wait for this candle to close here, right? And I'm gonna watch closely. I'm watching 296 calls, Jan 31st expiration. All right, guys, I am in. Average price 87 cents. Average price 87 cents. Okay, I'm actually gonna look to take some off here in a second, right? This thing's moving pretty well. Right, so we look to take off a little bit here at this like 97 if I can get it. Okay, creeping up, come on. Gonna take off about a quarter of my position at that area. There we go. So locked in a little bit of profit. Stop loss. Now my remainder is going to be at 90 cents. And let's see if this thing can run higher. There we go, 105. Let's go, guys. Okay, I'm gonna take off a little bit more here in a second. At 105 if I can get it. There we go. All right, so I've locked in a little bit of profit. Stop loss now my remainder is going to be at $1. And let's see if this thing can keep breaking up. But let's go, guys. Fantastic trade. Congratulations, everyone who caught this. Textbook, right? Followed our trading plan perfectly. That's exactly what we're trying to do, right? Just a little bit of patience. We can follow our trading plan perfectly. Get a great entry or green right away. I mean, that's exactly what we want, right? That's exactly what we want on our plays. Let's go. Anyone else jump in this with me here? Let's go, Derek. Let's go. Nice work. Yes, guys. Well done. Let's go. Now we're crushing it, right? We're almost up 30% here in, I don't know, 3 minutes. That's awesome, right? So that's the objective, right? We follow our trading plan. We stick to our rules. We do not compromise, because then we get great little plays like this where we green right away, right? We've got that insurance for that high of day breakout, and we can let this thing try to become a monster, right? But this is why we don't compromise, and this is why we make our trading plan. Right? What's the trend? How can we continue that trend? And then this is the best job in the world, right? I didn't even have time to write down the entry here. Sorry. So what I would suggest, right, is be more specific in your entry target. So don't wait to hear that I'm picking, right, a trade, pick a number when you're, you know, inside this zone, number on the contracts, a number or whatever, and size your positions towards that. So if you're going to be entering after I enter or chasing my entry, you're always going to be behind. So the risk reward is going to be against you, right? Your position sizing is going to be different. All those sort of other little variables are going to work against you and ultimately going to degrade your expectation of being profitable on that trade. So once we identify that entry zone, make a specific plan for what your entry target is going to be so that you're not waiting. Generally, like I say, generally what I like to say, right, is I want to see that tennis ball bounce back reaction before I'm willing to take a stab at anything. So once I see that tennis ball bounce back once, I'm looking to buy on that next play. Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit more off here, guys, at that like 120 if I can get it. I just want to basically make sure that we don't fake out above high of day and reject, right? So I want to try to keep taking some profit off on the way up. But not letting this trade go red now, right? I cannot lose money on this play. It is literally impossible. What was my last take profit? 106. Come on, Q. Come on. Well done, Jesus. 35% is awesome, man. Yeah, be careful about what contracts you're playing, right? Don't be buying 0 DTE if you don't want to be buying that 0 DTE. Like I said, next profit target here, guys, 120. That's 3 cents away on the contracts. All right, basically make high a day. I want to take some off, right? I don't want to get faked out above high a day. That's the thesis here on that profit target. Okay, 1 cent. All right, there we go. Locked in a little bit of profit there at that 120. Now we're ripping, right? This is awesome. So stop loss now, my remainder is going to be like 115. And let's see if this thing can keep going higher. I have about 2/5 of my original position left. 2/5 of my original position left. And I'm going to start taking this off in smaller chunks. But, I mean, guys, in at 87 cents, currently $1.26. Let's go. Right? Perfect trade, textbook trade, green right away, right? So good plan led to a good outcome here today, right? We didn't make this up. We didn't improvise this. We just followed our trading plan exactly, right? So strong reversal, bullish engulfing candle above high of day on increasing outlier volume. Look to buy a pullback into our entry zone, and then we can run this thing up towards sort of that midline on the Bollinger Bands. It's textbook, guys, right? This is why we plan, why we're so patient, why we stress, right? Not making things up as we go. Because when it comes together, it is a sweet, sweet feeling, and we make a lot of money. But if we're improvising and we're trying to give this up and we're trying to rush decisions, then we screw ourselves over and nothing good happens, right? So really good outcome, really fantastic process, really stoked on this, that we, you know, kind of took advantage of sort of the market conditions and we identified sort of the strongest setup. And guys, 30% in 10 minutes, best job in the world, right? Best job in the world. So we'll see how much further this thing can go. But, I mean, now at this point, right, I have pretty much zero reason to do anything else here today. It's a 5-figure day. So I'm just going to be chilling, right? I'm pretty happy to say markets are choppy and, you know, they're frustrating or whatever if I'm, you know, crushing it on the day. So I don't need to do anything silly. We did well, right? Taking some off, you know, trying to make sure we're avoiding that fake out on that high a day. Stop loss almost going to get triggered here. 115 stop loss on my remainder. I'm a penny away from that hitting. Seems like that's a good spot. That 115's held up so far. But if we can't close above high day, that'd probably be my trigger to get out. Right, because that wouldn't be very strong. Nice, Derek. Okay, congratulations, man. That's a fantastic result regardless. Right, remember, guys, right? Big wins come from a consistent, repeatable process, not by swinging for home runs or disregarding your rules, right? So, you know, okay, if you consistently are leaving a lot of money on the table and your profit targets are too aggressive, then okay, you can learn from that. You can adjust, you can make some changes, but don't try to be super inconsistent in your application during the trade, right? Accept that you're not going to get the most out of every single trade. That's going to be okay. That's all, unfortunately, part of it. But we do not need to, we don't need to try to be greedy on our actions, right? When we're successful, we'll know, we'll do pretty well, we'll crush it. But want to always be just a little bit patient, a little bit cautious, right? Not trying to force things, not trying to overtrade, sticking to my plan. Because when we stick to our plan, we crush it. Yeah, 33%, man, that's awesome, Derek. That's awesome. Right, to start the week off when we're expecting a ton of chop, I mean, that's incredible. So I'm going to look to take a little bit more off here, guys, at this 130 barrier. Try to get some off, like maybe 133. But yeah, I mean, fantastic trade, guys, right? We talked about this even pre-market, right? If we follow our plan, like our average win is like 30% this month. So it's all about just how can I avoid my worst trades so that I can just focus on my best ones, right? That's it. That's all we're always trying to do, right? Filter out our shittiest, worst, most painful setups so that it's easy to take advantage of our best ones. So today, right, this is a victory lap to being prepared and planning out our thesis, right? 20 minutes of prep in the morning, you know, made me 35, 40% 20 minutes later. So I will take that every single day of the week. That's why the preparation is so important, right? That's why being methodical is so important. That's why identifying our risk reward zone is so important, right? Even though we had that 2-to-1 risk reward, you know, when price action was 293.50, by waiting till we could get an even better play, now we're risking, you know, 15% to make 100, right? So all of a sudden that becomes a much more sustainable path towards profitability just by being a little bit patient, right? So not compromising, you know, even if you think price isn't going to get there, it probably will. One thing I've learned over the years. So it's all about just continually stacking up those kind of, you know, positive reward structures, right? Those, when we get rewarded for a good process, that is the best trade in the world because it makes it easier to follow our process again tomorrow. And so I'm sure I probably sound crazy sometimes with how much I stress it and repeat it, and you know, get annoyed when people try not to follow their plans, because I know how valuable it is, right, when we do. I know how much easier it is to be successful when we do. And so that's always the objective here, right? Every single day. How can I follow my plan perfectly? Because at the very least, if I don't, I can learn from it. And if I do, I'll make a lot of money. And that's it. That's the objective day in, day out. So no compromises, right? If you like the way you traded today, focus on trading like this every single day, right? This is the sustainable path towards trading where it's in control. So that's really fun, right? That's where we get the most joy. That's where we can have sort of the most enthusiasm out there. And so always, always, always going to stress that with everyone. And I just been stopped out protecting a very, very nice day. God, I love this job, guys. Sounds good, Jesus. You have yourself a fantastic rest of the afternoon, man. Well done catching that ripper. And we'll see what else sets up here. Whew. All right, guys. I didn't have time to make myself a cup of coffee before market open because prep ran a little bit late. So I'm going to go do that now. That was an awesome start to the morning. I'm going to put a little bit of whipped cream in it this morning. But yeah, we're going to have ourselves a little bit of fun. Honestly, Derek, don't think about it that way, right? if you're going to be successful, right, you're successful by building that confidence. So the reason you didn't go full port, you didn't go full position sizing, is there was something in your process that gave you anxiety, right? So you don't want to reward that sort of decision-making process. You want to reward trading in control. So what you need to ask yourself is, what about this trade gave me that anxiety to not want to go full position, right? So maybe that's, okay, I'm just not used to options. That's great, man. Options, when the volatility goes against you, it is the worst feeling in the world. So, you know, it not running, it not being perfect, it not being like your biggest win ever.
जाता ही नहीं है भोसड़े का।
84 तक तो आ गया है तेरा 65 है ना?
नहीं 65 है मेरा, लेकिन मार्केट इतना फटा गिर रहा है, ये स्लो गिर रहा है।
नहीं वो एप्पल ने देखा कैसे बैक मारा, मैं एप्पल में घुसने लगी थी तो
मार्केट बैक मारेगा, ये भी बैक मारेगा, मारा बैक
नहीं बैक नहीं मारा मार्केट ने, क्योंकि नीचे गिरता जा रहा है।
लेकिन सपोर्ट पे आ रहा है ना वो, ये
टाइम है अभी सपोर्ट में आने में।
वो इतना गिरे, हार्डली कुछ गिरा।
हाँ ये कम गिर रहा है, मैं भी नोटिस कर रही थी। 84 तक भी नहीं गया ये, 86 तक गया था। नहीं 86 पे गया था ना, हाँ 86 गया था मैंने देखा, बट हार्डली प्रॉफिट होएगा अभी तो।
कुछ प्रॉफिट नहीं आया, सुबह का लॉस भी कवर नहीं हो पाएगा। 95 एंट्री
7 सेंट ना अभी तक।
12 स्टॉप लॉस है, 95 एंट्री।
जाना कितना स्लो है ये, तू कितना स्लो इंट्रोडक्शन में डाला है तूने।
सेटअप दिख रहा था
मेटा ज्यादा अच्छा था उससे नहीं, इधर देख ले सब रिट्रैक्ट हो रहे हैं, सब वापस जा रहे हैं। नहीं 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 नहीं, सिर्फ मेटा हो गया थोड़ा सा। 7 3 से 21। क्यों कितने में गया? 95 पे ना। 95 और 12 12 7 होता है, 36 सेंट हो गया ना। 12 3 से 36।
यहाँ पे है, वैसे तो यहाँ पे एक है अनफिल्ड पर्पल जोन,
बट बहुत बैठना पड़ेगा ऐसा लग रहा है। छोड़ देना पड़ेगा टाइप्स का।
तो वापस जा रहा है।
समय क्योंकि जो इतना नहीं बढ़ता, ये गिरने के टाइम नहीं गिर रहा है, उठने के टाइम जल्दी उठ रहा है। चलना, ये सब तो गिर रहे हैं अभी फिर से। आपने पता नहीं क्यों धोखा दिया, अच्छा खासा जाते जाते नीचे आ गया।
5 फिगर बना लिया।
5 फिगर कह रहा है। हाँ उसका बहुत लंबा गया, मैंने सोचा कि क्यों गिरेगा, इसलिए मैंने चला उसके साथ नहीं लिया। 10,000 प्लस है उसका आज का। मेरा तो बहुत ही कम था उसके बाद, भाई के साथ ही कुछ लेने का।
गलती है नहीं है, बाकी सब क्योंकि लेना चाहिए।
तूने सुबह भी स्पाई नहीं लिया? मैंने स्पाई अच्छा लिया सुबह सुबह।
अरे नॉर्मली स्टॉक एएमडी तो लिया था मैंने, डाल दिया पता नहीं क्या कर रहा हूँ।
आज तो मेरा गंदा था क्यों का, पता नहीं क्यों गया। उसके बाद तो गिरा है क्यों कम से कम मेरे $300 बने होते उसमें आज, सॉरी 500। 300 सॉरी माय बैड। चल रहे जूती है। देख एप्पल अभी भी भाई फॉल नहीं हो रहा
एएमडी मैंने यहाँ ले लिया,
है।
यहाँ डाल दिया।
अच्छा कहाँ गया?
सच कितना पैसा बना था? 24 कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लिए थे मैंने,
अरे यार
281 पे, और अभी भाव चल रहा है
रुक सकते थे
$10,
क्या?
3.25।
ऐसे देख हाइंडसाइट में देखने में कोई फायदा नहीं है।
इसलिए इतना बजट
मैं तो अभी भी सोच रही हूँ एप्पल डालने का। क्या लग रहा है एप्पल?
इतना मार्केट मूव दे दिया आज का दिन हो गया।
नहीं एप्पल में इतना नहीं आया नहीं चल ठीक है मैं तो
एप्पल के हिसाब से वो मूव होता है, एप्पल नहीं देता है।
$30 पॉजिटिव है मतलब आज का
कल के लिए
कुछ भी नहीं है ना वहां तक ये चूतिया जा नहीं रहा स्पाई ऊपर जा रहे हैं एट्टी फोर का 95 का फिल है ना
निकाल रहा है
मतलब
बस टाइम
माइनस में क्यों हुआ
पहले वाला लॉस था ना यार,
अच्छा
पहले वाला यहाँ पे लॉन्ग लिया गया नहीं था, निकल गया।
तो टोटल में ये 38 लॉस है
हम्म,
या
पहले वाले
हुआ
में
नहीं है
कुछ
अभी तक
नहीं हो गया, पहले वाले में कुछ 38 लॉस था और 70 कुछ लॉस था, इसमें कुछ 40 डॉलर प्रॉफिट था, बट ये मार्केट पूरा ना बहुत ऊपर आ रहा है।
$100 प्रॉफिट है मुश्किल से वो भी टैक्सेस वो सब निकलेंगे तो 110 $20 क्योंकि नीचे वाले नहीं थे ना नीचे वाले तक
64 बता रहा है
बस 100 के बाद इतना क्यों गया
प्रॉफिट। 24 टाइम्स 24
24 टाइम्स 60 50
24 टाइम्स 24 24 24 टाइम्स
48 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 60 30 हाँ सही तो है
31 31 31 38
69 ओए
60 डॉलर्स प्रॉफिट तो है, नहीं होगा ये दिमाग पे आ रहा था कुछ भी
95 पे आ भी गया देखना तेरे उस पे अच्छा हुआ निकाल दिया हाँ
मेरे को तो इतना मार्केट वीक है, ये नहीं जा रहा था, मतलब क्या गारंटी
नहीं तो 95 पे आ भी गया नितेश जीरो हो
पता है
जाता
अभी तक कुछ भी होगा।
अभी कुछ नहीं है मार्केट में चुतिया पाया आज मुझे लगा था कि सॉरी जाएगा लेकिन ठीक है अभी क्या ही कर सकते हैं
मैं भी तेरे साथ घुस गया। शॉट लिया। मैं तो शेयर लिया मैंने शॉट। लफड़ा है ना, मार्केट वो हो रहा है, कि नहीं मार्केट को बॉटम मिल रहा है।
डाल दिया
छोड़ यार, बेकार है, नेगेटिव कर रहा हूँ दिन चुतिया से और रेट
और क्या लिया तूने
अभी न्यू लॉन्ग हूँ मैं, यार नहीं मैंने सारा 150 बंदा का देना।
क्यों
अरे क्यों मतलब
अच्छा।
हो गया तो क्या
अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक है ठीक है ठीक
चुतिया
है
मेरे को इधर क्या तंग करने आई फिर से।
नहीं 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 नहीं
जा यहाँ से प्लीज।
जाओ ओके चुप चुप बैठते हो मधु आया था तोड़ के स्पाई तो जा रहा है क्योंकि क्यों भी जा रहा है तो नीचे आ गया ये चुतिया
नीचे नहीं जा रहा था, ऊपर नहीं जा रहा, स्पाई भागता जा रहा है, ये चुतिया हो गई।
स्टॉक्स लिए ना स्पाई के भी, हाँ। नुकसान तो रकम
$32 को नुकसान हो गया।
स्पाई टूट रहा है। कैंडल $1.50 के लिए 45। जाता है ऊपर भी नीचे आता है फिर। स्पाई का मेन लग रहा है, स्पाई गया तो सबको लेके ना चला जाए बस। एंट्री प्राइस पे आ जाए एटलीस्ट। चलो चलो स्पाई रिट्रैक्ट कर लो, फिर जाओ वापस। बहुत ही स्लो हिलता है यहाँ, सही कह रहा था।
मैं यहाँ पे देखा
अच्छा, वॉल्यूम किस पे आ रहा है वो देख रहा है? प्राइस 1205 पे,
सपोर्ट कहाँ
1205 दिख रहा है अभी तक
पे, कौन सा पड़ा था वो
तो। ये पुट्स हैं, एक
पहले
कौन सा?
पहले बिड वाला बहुत भारी था और पास कल का था,
अच्छा।
दोनों इक्वल थे,
हम्म,
एक साइड को भी करना पड़ेगा, दूसरे साइड में बहुत वॉल्यूम आनी पड़ेगी,
पास में आ रही है अभी।
तोड़ना पड़ेगा उसको, 4 3 सारे तोड़ने पड़ेंगे उसको, रीलोड हो रहा है, जिससे तोड़ता और आ जाते हैं,
बिड को तोड़ना पड़ेगा ना?
बिड को कांस्टेंट रहना पड़ेगा, बिड अगर हल्का हो गया तो स्टॉप नीचे जाएगा,
हाँ।
सारे ना 4 3 तोड़ना पड़ेगा, अगर टूट गया ना
हम्म,
1700 300 यानी उसको रीलोड नहीं आना चाहिए, एक सेंट ऊपर जाना चाहिए,
तो 6 हो तो गया वहाँ पे, पहले 5 था ना?
लेकिन वेट होना चाहिए ना, वहाँ पे
हाँ,
7 को
वहाँ
तोड़ रहा है
7
ना,
है,
देखो
7।
7 रीलोड हो रहा है, 1500 लेके जाता है फिर रीलोड हो जाता है और शेयर हो जाता है,
1000 1200 है अभी, फिर से
तोड़ना
आगे।
चाहिए, एक सेंट बढ़ के तोड़ना चाहिए,
मतलब अगर, हाँ समझी, तो और ज्यादा आते रह रहे हैं 7 पे।
और 6 के बी को पीक नहीं होना चाहिए तो स्टॉक नीचे जाएगा,
समझी।
बेसिकली अगर वो रीलोड हो तो 6 भी रीलोड होना चाहिए,
हाँ, वो उतना नहीं हो रहा है जितना वो
6
7000।
रीलोड होना बंद हो गया तो नीचे आ जाएगा,
ओ भाई, हाँ सही है, समझी अभी। 7 पे बहुत वॉल्यूम है, 6 पे कम है। आ रही है, आ रही है।
तोड़ के 8 पे जाए ना,
हाँ, अभी 8 पे जाना चाहिए उसको। वॉल्यूम देख कितना आ गया वहाँ पे भी। 8 जा ही नहीं रहा है।
तो उसको होता है हिडन सेलर, उसके बहुत है बेचने के लिए लेकिन वो अपना पूरा साइज नहीं बता,
धीरे 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 बेच रहा है।
धीरे धीरे करके बेच रहा
ओ अच्छा, देख वहाँ पे वो टूटा, 6 पे आ गया वो।
है, हिडन सेलर बैठा है दूसरे का, और यहाँ पे जो टाइम एंड सेल है यहाँ पे दिखने चाहिए बड़े बड़े ऑर्डर, अगर ऐसा ग्रीन हाईलाइट कर गया ना मतलब बहुत बड़ा ऑर्डर है, ऐसा समझ लीजिए,
नहीं आ रहा ना।
नहीं मतलब देखो दिखाना कैसा ऑर्डर है,
28,000
पूरा
28,000
ऐसा
का।
हाईलाइट होना चाहिए ब्रो, देखिए
हाँ।
ये मतलब बहुत ही डेस्परेट ऑर्डर है ये, ऐसा होना चाहिए,
उठ क्यों रुकता है? आई थिंक हर रिप्लेसमेंट 5 दिन में आने वाला है। अच्छा वाला लेके आना है तुम्हारे ऑफिस में आ रहा है, नहीं है रिप्लेसमेंट। अरे यार, फिर 5 पे आ गया, वहाँ पे 6 तोड़ दिया उसने।
5 पे खुद ही कितनी आई थी
85,000।
डालो वॉल्यूम में तो शेयर वॉल्यूम
हाँ अच्छा, अभी 8,000 10,000 है। तो एग्जैक्टली यही तो चाहिए था कि उधर वॉल्यूम बढ़े और इधर कम हो रहा है ना, यहाँ भी उल्टा हो रहा है। ये दोनों देखना जरा मुश्किल हो जाता है। चल 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 चल। तेरा फर्स्ट प्रॉफिट टारगेट क्या है? 35?
20,
20 टाइम है उसको तो। ये वाइट लाइन नहीं तोड़ पा रहा ना वो, डॉट डॉट वाली। सपोर्ट मिल जाता है उसको, रेजिस्टेंस मिल जाता है। I mean, फिर से साला नीचे आ रहा। उठ जाओ। कंफर्टर के अंदर से ऐसे ऐसे करके आ रहा था। उसको भी तो कुछ नहीं मिल रहा ना, धंधा वही है। टोटल 98 हो गया, 87। ठीक है, ये तो एक दिन में कमा लेगा।
फायदा नहीं है ना।
हाँ ना, ये फालतू ने स्पाई तो फालतू ले लिया ना 92 का लॉस।
जो रिस्क है उसके हिसाब से दिखा है।
हाँ ऑब्वियसली।
एक दिन में कमा लेगा नहीं क्या, अगर मैं इतना रिस्क लूंगा तो मैं नहीं कमाऊंगा। वो दैट्स अ वेरी रॉन्ग थिंग।
तेरा